And away we go. It is the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. So there's a lot been going on outside of the world of the Big 12, which we have clearly focused heavily on the past couple days because of Big 12 media days. But now it's time to get back into our normal flow of things, Aaron. And what better way to get back into our normal flow of things than to talk about a topic that has been more prevalent on this show than any other topic that we've had, and that is the NCAA losing a court battle. Shocking, I know. Hard to believe.
By another unanimous decision.
So this one is one of the cases, Johnson versus NCAA. It is it's the Third Circuit's opinion on this. It is not like a final thing. It is being kind of sent back to another district where this was an appeal on the NCAA asked for appeal. The appeal has been denied, and it is being sent back to the original court. And this is as it pertains to college athletes being labeled employees. And some of the stuff that the NCAA has tried to cling to make amateurism stick, one of them being, of course, that they're just like interns. Student athletes are just like interns. Like we give them a scholarship and they play a little football for us, but in reality, it's just like that summer internship that you had, that there are only 1,000 jobs in the world that they can get. And they all involve playing football that there's not a major for. Humor me for a second. Could they have avoided a lot of this if they just were smart enough to have made football a major, basketball a major? Instead of trying to let's funnel them all into criminal justice or business or economics or whatever, African-American studies at North Carolina, where they didn't even actually make them go to class for said major. Do you think they could have avoided some of this if they had actually done what should have been done and treated each sport as its own professional entity and trained these athletes? If you're going to call them student athletes, train them in all the other facets of all the other things that circle around that world, like being an agent or being a trainer, or being media. You know what I mean? I think they might have been able to sidestep some of this if they had treated the sports as part of the academic curriculum, because then they would have been student athletes furthering their education in whatever, sport is their future livelihood.
You could have potentially gotten away with that. And maybe at that point you have a leg to stand on as you're trying to say that they're going to school for this. As theater majors do, as music majors do, as different groups do. That said,
every other spectrum of college life, you go to school and major in what that you want it is to be your profession, except for athletics. Right, all of it. Being an accountant, being a veterinarian, being a doctor, a lawyer.
Even if you don't go down that road and you have the foresight, knowing that you're on a death knell as you're marching down a very dark road where there is no light at the end of the tunnel. If you had the foresight to do that, you could have just gotten out ahead of this 10, 15 years ago, back when NCAA college football was discontinued by EA Sports because of all of this. And you could have said, hey, instead of putting my head in the sand, burying it, I'm going to try and do something to pay the players and be proactive in trying to whatever you would have done would have been better than doing nothing and pretending that this was all going to go away because you were the NCAA. There were too many instances of trying to penalize people for accepting a cheeseburger, trading a gift you received for tattoos, and losing games. Like, just all of the rules you had in place were just absolutely about controlling the players in every facet and being the ones that had the final say in every single part of their lives.
As one would do if they were your employees working for you and you controlled, even more so. But like, if you're an
it was
employer,
worse than that. It was worse than
I know,
that.
but I'm saying if you're an employer, you do have some say in, like,
yes,
at least through an agreement with your, like, at will employment, or like,
because there's a contract. We haven't
Right.
even had contracts. I mean, we're still, even now in the era of NIL, we're still doing handshake agreements here for NIL.
Right.
Come pay.
There's contracts.
Some places aren't honoring those agreements, regardless of contracts or handshakes, as they're trying to get out of paying players that decided to transfer a couple weeks before that 1 year was up. In any case, I digress. But I think that you're just getting one step closer to getting the NCAA to a professional sport with a union and proper representation, which these players have not had in its entire 100+ year history.
Right. You want to hear my favorite part? This was from the opinion from the judge. When it comes to amateurism and the student athlete in college athletics, the judge opined, "We have opted against using a term both parties employ liberally in briefing. Student athlete, like Band-Aid or laundromat. Student athlete is essentially a brand name that has become synonymous with its product. As scholars have noted, the term is an NCAA marketing invention designed to conjure the nobility of amateurism, assert the precedence of scholarship over athletics, and obfuscate the nature of the legal relationship at the heart of a growing commercial enterprise. Context makes this vividly apparent."
What have we been talking about? And since we started discussing all of these cases and everything, what we have been talking about is the NCAA and their laughable motto, their mantra, that the student is above
student athlete. Yeah.
You're right. The student is above all. No. It's always been the athlete above. And you were making billions of dollars across the country.
Like, that's really at the heart of this, is they never evolved, because there was a time that this was not being done for a whole lot of money. There weren't lucrative national TV deals. The money that was being brought in was realistically being used to fund the rest of the athletic department. And then once you did that, there was no money left over. And then once there started being money left over, they started having to inflate everything and play with the books so it didn't look like there was money left over. Because if there was money left over, then there would have been money to pay the athletes, which only burned them when COVID came along and their revenue got cut. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, we've never established a nest egg, because we weren't allowed to establish a nest egg, because if there was a nest egg, then the student athletes would have rightfully wanted their cut of the pie, because we're making so much money that we have extra now. So instead of having extra, they just had to balloon and balloon and balloon and create jobs and projects and whatever, everything that, has come along with this. To hear a judge finally say student athlete is a farce, bravo. Bravo. Well done.
When you have coaches who are maybe the top 3, maybe the top 5, maybe the top 10 state employee in the entire state, as far as gross pay,
Like, I would guess if you looked, like in Alabama, the highest paid state employees are Alabama and Auburn football and basketball coaches.
Well,
Like,
Nick
I would
Saban,
guess
Nick
those are
Saban,
if they're
Nick
not the
Saban
top
had,
four, they're four of the top 10.
well, and Nick Saban had a clause in his contract that he always had to remain the top paid coach in the entire country.
Right.
So that kept going up.
He was the best coach in the country.
Sure.
So no issue with Nick Saban
It's just
there. Like,
when you, but that's
right.
at a microcosm as you're looking at the entire
Right.
landscape of college football, and you have a coach who is the top paid state employee. That's insane. That's absolutely insane when you have none of the 100+ athletes making $1
Right.
legally above board.
Well, and then they brought in the cost of attendance, where they would pay them whatever the cost of attendance was. They got the differential between their scholarship and the cost of attendance, which was nothing essentially. It was a couple $1,000, depending on the school. But yeah, I mean, we are finally getting to a point where these are employees, but the NCAA, Aaron, released a statement. And basically that statement, the NCAA is expanding core guaranteed beliefs to include health insurance, scholarships, academic counseling, mental health, career preparation, also advancing the proposal.
It took them until 2024 to do that.
Right. To allow schools to deliver far greater direct financial benefits to student athletes, as if they had a choice. The only reason they're doing revenue sharing is because they would have gone out of business if they didn't. But here's the part of that, Aaron. Let's see, where does it start? In modernizing college sports, student athlete leadership from all three divisions agree that college athletes should not be forced into an employment model, which is ironic because all of these lawsuits are being brought forth by student athletes, which they expect will harm their experiences and needlessly cost countless student athletes. This is a threat, basically, Aaron. Will harm their experiences and needlessly cost countless student athletes opportunities in women's sports, Olympic sports, and sports at the HBCU and Division II and Division III levels. We look forward to working with all stakeholders, including Congress, still begging for Congress to step in and save them, to continue to promote needed changes in the best interest of all student athletes. That is the most tone-deaf statement I've maybe ever heard. That's Megan Durham-Wright, NCAA spokesperson. They just straight up said, if you make us label them employees, they said the quiet part out loud. We are getting rid of everything that's not revenue generating. It's all out.
If you think for a second you're going to be able to get rid of all women's sports because you started paying the men's sports, good luck winning that court battle. If you think you're going to get rid of all of the HBCUs while paying all of the other colleges and universities across the country, good luck winning that court battle. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face every time you get an opportunity. Why not just say we're going to work hand in hand with the colleges and universities across the country to see what steps we can make? Like, you don't have to give a definitive sentence or statement. You can say we're going to work together to try and take steps forward to better the student athlete lifestyle. To better, just what, even if it's bullshit, just you don't have to say that.
Yeah. Basically, all of this that we'll burn the whole house down. We don't care if you make us treat them as employees. We'll burn the whole damn house down. Okay, good luck. Good luck.
It will no longer be referred to as the NCAA at that point in time. It will be
right.
You'd have the College Football Union. They're still going to be around. You may not NCAA, but they're still going to be around. There's certainly a market for it. You'd have men's college basketball. I assume you'd probably still have women's college basketball, women's volleyball. There's markets for all of these things. Are you
Men's
going to
baseball, women's softball.
Are you going to be paid the same? Absolutely not, because the markets are different. The demand is different. The media deals will be different.
And the people providing the product will be properly, well, they won't be properly compensated for a long time, but they will be compensated.
Sure. And I think you might, for the first time, see, I don't know, college baseball teams have whole scholarships for players instead of just pieces.
Here's your 20% of your scholarship. Gee, thanks. But you still have to work like a college.
The fact
you still have to work like a student athlete.
The fact that it's taken until now to do things like help them find jobs after college, to issue health care. Right. You put your body on the line so you could make these billions of dollars. Why are we just getting health care? Why?
Because they didn't have to, because they weren't treated as employees. We give them our internal health care, so that's good enough. Like, they should just feel lucky with that, which you see, it's incredible, but it's not.
There are plenty of lingering injuries for some of these players after they're done.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't have a whole lot else to get to, and if we did, we're already out of time, because the two of us, as you guys know, can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about this topic.
We'll have plenty of more opportunities as the NCAA continues to get in its own way.
Keegan is back from Vegas. The only thing he didn't do, I was talking about this with Kelsey last night, and it occurred to me, if he would have just gone to a tanning bed.
I thought you were going to say throw a coin into a fountain.
No, I was going with the Jersey Shore Gym Tan Laundry. He did laundry last night when we got done with the show. Instead of going to Pac-12 Media Days, he did laundry.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
He was only there for 2 nights, right?
He is leaving in the morning to go to South Carolina for AAU coverage. So
does he only have 3 outfits?
He's 24, and I don't pay him out. I mean, I consider him a student athlete. We'll see you next time. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Bearcat Journal, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Kidding, Keegs.